beauty bee. So if you have been watching my channel for a little while, you likely know that I am currently on a no-buy. I do a little bit of a different low-buy, no-buy project where for 3-month periods in the year, I won't buy anything. And then I will have a short break from that no-buy where I have a set budget. In my case, it's $35, and I am allowed to spend that on whatever color cosmetics I want. And then after that, I am again on a replacement only no-buy for 3 months. So I have a pretty small to moderate sized collection, I think, for someone who consumes a lot of beauty YouTube content and has decided to create beauty content on YouTube. I definitely have a smaller than average collection. However, I still have enough. There's a reason we need this no-buy. And I realized over the course of this no-buy that one of the most important elements to my success has been being able to maintain my interest in the makeup I already have without needing to refresh constantly. It's so easy to look in your wardrobe or look in your drawers and say, I have nothing to wear, I don't have anything fun, let's add this one thing and it will refresh my entire wardrobe. Everything will be interesting again. I'll have so many new things to pair it with. But if you're on a no-buy, or if you're just trying to cut back, that's counterproductive. So I thought we'd talk through a few different strategies for staying interested in what you already own. This list in particular is on makeup, but as I was going through it, I think at least 6 of them apply to fashion, to clothing, accessories as well. So after the longest, most unnecessary introduction ever, let's finally get into it. So the first element on this list, and probably the most obvious and maybe even easiest to achieve, is just to reorganize. Clean up your makeup. Move what's in the back of the drawer to the front of the drawer and vice versa. Switch where you keep your lipstick with where you keep your blush. You've just reorganized. I mean, obviously you haven't bought anything new. Maybe you've even done a little bit of decluttering in the meantime. But I don't know about you, but when I go through my closet in particular, I always find things that's like, wow, I kind of forgot that I had that. I really enjoy this item. Why am I not using it more? And I find the same thing happens when I reorganize my makeup. And it just feels new and exciting when it's in a new spot and it's been all cleaned and looks very fresh. It feels like I'm getting a new product on some level, though of course I'm not. Tip number 2, try Project Pan. Now this might not work for everyone. Some people find that project pans are very tedious, that they feel like their creativity is being stifled, etc. But I think that project pans, for me, have been useful on a couple of different levels. One, I'm someone who likes a challenge. I like not necessarily using the same thing every day, because I do like to switch things up. However, I like knowing that I have a goal in mind. I like having sort of a fallback plan if I'm running late, or when we could actually leave our houses more often. I would put my Project Pan stuff in my gym bag and just know that those 4-ish times a week that I got ready there, I would be using those same products, making that same look, and that it was something, and it made that tedium of doing the same look the 4 times a week feel like I was accomplishing something. Thank you, motorcycle. Additionally, if you have not finished an item before, or let's say you haven't finished a blush since that first blush you got when you were 16 and then you finished it off sometime in college, I think it is really valuable to try a project pan of just a couple items. Don't go overboard, and really understand just how long it takes to use up makeup. I mean, we can all look at those lists that say, oh yes, it took on average 214 swipes of a lipstick to finish a tube. But until you actually try to finish your own lipstick, or even worse, a blush or an eyeshadow palette, you really don't fully understand just how Herculean of an effort that sort of is. Finally, moving on from Project Pan, we move to point number 3, which is try to build Cher's closet computer in your head. Maybe that doesn't make sense, and maybe that makes perfect sense to you. But what I mean by that is build up your wardrobe in your head. Do you know exactly what you have? That's step 1. Now, you know what you have, but do you really know those products somewhat intimately? If I were to name off some item in your collection, if someone was to name off any item in your collection, could you picture what it looks like, what finish it has, how it wears throughout the day, whether you like it, what situations would like to wear it in? Is this more of a winter item or a summer item? Does it mess you up when your skin is at its driest, etc.? And then what in your clothing wardrobe do you like to wear this with? Now, that's a lot, and it really does take a lot of use to figure that out for every single item. So maybe focus on building that Cher wardrobe computer. Get to know the details of every item that you have so that you aren't, pardon my pun, clueless about your own stash. I hate that. I'm kind of proud of myself, though. Number 4, give your products new names. Now, I actually have an example for this. Now, NYX is somewhat disappointing to me in that they've made these avant-pop palettes that are somewhat art themed. I think one's called like Surreal My Heart. This one is Nouveau Chic, and there's a third one. I want to say it's something to do with pop art, but I'm not exactly certain. But then they didn't name the shades. That's obnoxious. And so a couple of years ago, I decided that I was going to give this palette a bunch of Art Nouveau names because NYX should have done that in the first place. And of course, you could just do this with items that already do have names and give them your personal flair. So for this, I gave the shades all Art Nouveau names. I've got Metropolitan, Jugendstil, Tiffany, Peacock, Klimt was this gold, Modernismo. The one that I'm most proud of actually is Style Nuil, which is this shade because quite literally it means noodle style. And I thought this was like a spaghetti color. I don't know. I'm really happy with it. And it just makes it feel so much more mine than it did. And I am seriously considering naming a few of my other palettes. I think the last 3 we can kind of fly through in comparison. Number 1, dupe the vibes of items that you are interested in that are coming out. If you are in the makeup community, you likely have quite a stash built up. If you are interested in going on a no-buy, you're even more likely to have quite the stash already built up. So before you buy something, really look deeply at what you have. This is where your little share computer comes in, and figure out what you have that's similar. Can you build a similar look? My suspicion is that in general, you probably can. I mean, I have an entire playlist somewhere, up here or up there, that is inspired tutorials. I just look at a new palette that's come out and I make a look that I could have made with that palette. Usually it is the look that would make me want to buy the palette. And I suspect that if you are also existing in this beauty sphere, that you probably can do the same. Number 6, shop your stash. Look for items in your collection that you like, you don't know very well, and just aren't getting very much attention from you, and put them out. Make a point of using them over the next couple of weeks. I have just started to do this, so I can't say from very much experience that it's worthwhile, but I did find myself actually using the things that I had pulled. I really made a point to use, for example, this palette is what I pulled, I think 2.5 weeks ago. And I think I used it 5 days, 6 days. I used just this palette, and then a couple more days I pulled in 1 or 2 shades to accent different parts of my look. So I got more use out of this palette in 2 weeks than I probably would have if it had just been sitting in my drawer for 2 or 3 months. Number 7 is find new looks that can be created from the items you already have. One strategy to do this might be to do a YouTube search for some of the older palettes you have. You know, if you have a Naked 2, there are probably 315 million different videos that are Naked 2 eyeshadow tutorials. That might be an overestimation, but probably not by much. I'm betting there's tens of thousands. And the YouTube beauty community has grown so large that I imagine you could find a tutorial for almost anything in your collection that you wanted to do more with. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you have very good luck with your no-buy, low-buy, trying to cut down, or just find a little bit of extra passion for your collection from some of these tips. I would love to hear your thoughts and strategies in the comments below, and I hope you will consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed. I look forward to seeing you next time, but until then, bye! We can all, look at some list on Refinery 29 and say, wow, there's 217 swipes of lipstick in a tube. And then go, wow, I've got, 17 tubes of lipstick, which is probably pretty accurate for me. I don't actually have the count off the top of my head. And then go, how good is my mental math? Pretty good. And then say, wow, I have 3,689 swipes of lipstick. Is that right? I think it is.